Pregnant women deserve privacy. We don't deserve to be treated like criminals, okay? Now, call me a conspiracy theorist, but there are a few issues that I would like to address today. One of which is, what happens to my placenta after I give birth in the hospital? Why does the hospital keep the blood from the PKU test from my baby, and why can't they test for that before the baby's born from the parents? Why are medical doctors and midwives now drug testing pregnant women with no probable cause or suspicion? Another question, guys. Why are insurance companies not paying for home births and midwives, and instead they'll pay 10 times that amount for scheduled C-section and ergot-derived inducers like Pitocin? What's going on, folks? Call me a paranoid conspiracy theorist, but I think the pregnancy privacy of women around the nation is being challenged. First of all, I got tested for HIV. No one told me, no one asked, but I got tested for HIV. There are laws, federal laws, I'm pretty sure, against that. But in the state of Texas, there's a law saying that they can do that. That's a Fourth Amendment concern. Second of all, states all over the country are now drug testing women without their consent or knowledge and without even having reasonable suspicion of their drug use. There are new laws coming in every state that make it a felony or considered child abuse to do drugs while you're pregnant. Pregnancy is not probable cause. It is not a crime. It does not warrant the search and seizure of private information through drug testing. Now, yes, there is a huge problem today with pregnant women who are addicted to methamphetamines, heroin, crack, cocaine, and pharmaceutical pills. But there's one illicit substance that remains extremely controversial as to whether or not it's actually harmful to the fetus. That is cannabis. Now, one medical doctor, Melanie Dreher, did extensive research in Jamaica on the effects of cannabis in infants who had mothers that smoked versus mothers that didn't smoke while they were pregnant. The results were in, as far as she was concerned, that those babies were more alert and social, while other research can suggest that it can negatively affect the infant or fetus's central nervous system. So, the news is up in the air as far as cannabis. But women are legally allowed to smoke cigarettes, which have added arsenic and cyanide and carbon monoxide. They're allowed to actually drink alcohol, which has been proven to cause fetal alcohol syndrome. But they're only judged for the alcohol if there are visible symptoms in the baby once it's born, fetal alcohol syndrome. Whereas cannabis, women are getting tested while they're pregnant and getting Child Protective Services instantly called on them, whether or not the child shows any actual harm. What is my problem with this? Because I understand that most of you think that it should automatically be a crime if a woman does anything to endanger her fetus. Although I'm sure some of you women have had a cup of coffee before when you're pregnant. Well, it's a problem because addiction is a disease. And if a woman thinks that she could go to jail or lose her baby if she's honest with her doctor, and if a woman thinks that her doctor's going to test her without her knowledge and put her at risk for those things, then what do you think she's going to do if she's an addict? Is she going to toughen up and stop smoking joints or stop smoking crack or shooting up meth or heroin? No, she's not. Those women are simply not going to seek out prenatal care, and that can do further harm to the fetus. So maybe midwives and doctors should look at women, as human beings, and their fetuses as part of that woman's body and their right to choose. Let's face it, women are allowed to abort their babies, but having a glass of wine, a cigarette, or a cup of coffee is looked down upon. And smoking a joint in the state of Texas while pregnant due to its Schedule I drug status puts her at risk for felony charges. Those laws were obviously enacted to protect fetuses, but is that what they're really doing? Back to some other issues, like the placenta. What do you think happens to your placenta after you give birth in a hospital? Well, you might like to think that it gets burnt up in an incinerator or thrown out with medical waste. But I just spoke with a nurse who informed me that that is not the case because this biohazard is illegal for them to burn up in the incinerator. So what do they do with this genetic material that you gave up your right to when you threw it away? They sell it to third-party companies. Now, please do yourself a favor and ask yourself why a company would pay money for your placenta and cord, especially if it's medical waste. Well, there's one such company that is across the world, outside of the realm of the illegal United States stem cell laws, that brags about their ability to not only clone people's dead pets, but clone humans and do stem cell therapy. And I'm not talking about pluripotent stem cell therapy such that can be found in random organs and tissues of your bodies. No, they're bragging about their omnipotent stem cell therapy. That is the cord blood, fetal tissue stem cell therapy that they claim they get from donors. Well, who are these donors? Well, according to United States law, if you throw something out, you're getting rid of it. The hospital can claim it and sell it. So, guys, is there any other risk of your child's genetic material being invaded? Well, it comes to pass that the same woman who informed me that our placentas are sold to third parties informed me also that the PKU test that is done on babies, where they put a little drop of blood on a card, is kept for further testing and research. What does that mean? We don't know. But all I can tell you is the placentas are being sold and the PKU blood is being kept. Now, PKU is a very dangerous disease that can cause your child brain damage if you don't get it diagnosed. Phenylketonuria is what it's called. And what that means is that your baby, if it has that, may not be able to process the amino acid L-phenylalanine. But the trick is this: you don't have to test your baby. You and your spouse can get tested to see if you're carriers before the baby's even born. Now, why wouldn't the medical establishment have pregnant women find that out before the baby's born in order to adjust their diet then? We all know that nutrients cross the placenta. Wouldn't it be healthier for the baby to avoid L-phenylalanine before the birth? Let me know if you're a medical professional what you think about that. So what options do we have as women, pregnant women, who want to reclaim our privacy? I mean, here I have the option of going to a medical doctor, going to the hospital, having the placenta sold. I'm not allowed to keep it in the state of Texas. There was one woman who actually succeeded with a court order to get the right to bring her placenta home, but for average people, it is illegal for them to give you your own placenta. So my placenta is going to get sold to a third party. The PKU test is required by law, so they're going to store my child's blood on hand. Or I can go to a midwife and have a home birth. I could keep my placenta in that case, but the PKU test is still required. Although the midwives are not getting reimbursed by at least TRICARE for that, even though they're required to do it, my option is to pay a midwife between $2,000 and $4,000, depending if she's a licensed or a certified nurse midwife. And licensed midwives aren't going to get reimbursed at all by my insurance. Certified nurse midwives get reimbursed $1,500 to $2,000, but their costs are in the range of $3,800, which is why I would have to pay them up front. Well, if you're not independently wealthy and you don't want your placenta to be sold on the black market, then there's really only one other option: free birthing, unassisted childbirth. And this is a trend that's happening more and more in the United States today. Is it because they don't want their genetic materials sold to some random company that brags about cloning humans? I don't know. Is it because maybe they don't want their water broken against their consent, which is what happened to me, and then forced into a C-section, and then they get put under and wake up without a uterus, which has actually happened to some women because the doctor puts her under and decides she doesn't need her uterus? I don't know, but it's something that I'm seriously considering, and I would like your comments and your input below, especially if you have anything to do with labor and delivery. If you're still here and you haven't already subscribed, then please go ahead and just hit that button below. I'm going to vlog this entire pregnancy, and I want to do a home birth any way that I can do that. I'm seriously considering free birthing. You can follow me on Facebook, Eden Cultures. You can follow me on Twitter, Eden Cultures, and of course here at YouTube or EdenCultures.com. And I want you to be with me on this journey. Thanks. This is me looking out for you. Take back your privacy. Reclaim your placenta. Have a good day.